world to promote American prosperity, enhance American security, and extend American influence.
So was it a certain part of the world or all parts of the world?
It was a broad discussion.
Did North Korea come up?
I'm not going to get into the specifics of detailed conversation.
Sarah, a finer point on Mueller. The president said if he does investigate his or the family's finances, that's crossing a red line. There's a report today that Mueller is investigating a broad range of the family's financial transactions. If that report is true, then he has crossed the red line. Does that mean he fires him?
Again, as I said earlier, the president has no intention to do so at this
Even
time.
if he crosses the red line, so the red line doesn't mean anything.
That's not what I said. I don't believe
What does
everything
the
I
red
read
line
in the
mean?
paper. We'll have to see as we get more details on that.
But he said that. It's on audio. He said that's crossing a red line. That's not something you read in the paper. You can
I'm
listen
talking
to the
about
audio.
the investigation looking into the
But if
finances.
it's
The
true,
president's been
does he
clear
have to fire him
many
because he said
times
that's
before
crossing a
that he
red line?
has no financial dealings whatsoever with Russia. The point the president's making is that the investigation should stay within the confines of Russia meddling in the election and nothing
Does he
beyond
fire
that.
him?
I'm not going to get into that.
How does the president expect loyalty from his aides, from members of his cabinet, when he's constantly criticizing them and undercutting them and contradicting them in particularly media outlets that he constantly tries to discredit?
I don't believe that the president is undermining them. I think he was being very candid about feelings that he had, but as I said, he has confidence in his ability. April.
Sarah, how does the process play out when the president is very candid about what he thinks about his attorney general, about what he thinks about Mueller? How does this process play out?
I'm sorry, what?
The investigation, the whole process of relationships between Sessions and the president. The process of this investigation by Mueller. How does this play out with the president being very upset over the process and openly criticizing everyone and people in fear?
I think it's pretty clear how the process will turn out from our side is that this will be proven to be the witch hunt that it is and that nothing further will happen. Trey?
I have two more questions.
Two more.
Yes, two more. There's a belief that these conversations with the New York Times or whatever reporters are pieces of intimidation to go to Mueller, to go to Sessions. What do you say to that?
I think that's ridiculous. Third question.
And then lastly, Baltimore. Does the president regret what he said about Baltimore? He threw Rosenstein under the bus for the wrong city. He's not from Baltimore, he's from Philadelphia. And people in Baltimore saying there are a lot of Republicans there, even though the city is led by a Democratic mayor.
I think he was making a general statement. Trey?
But it was wrong. The statement was wrong.
He's spent a lot of time and has worked pretty extensively in Baltimore.
Has President Trump spoken with the Attorney General in the past 24 hours?
No, not that I'm aware of.
In a follow-up, does he regret appointing Jeff Sessions to be his Attorney General?
I don't believe so. I think if he did, then he probably wouldn't be in that position.
A quick one on Afghanistan policy. Following his meeting this morning at the Pentagon, is the President any closer to unveiling a policy towards Afghanistan? And should the American people expect that we will be sending more troops to the region?
As I said earlier, the president has empowered Secretary Mattis in that front, and I would direct you to the Department of Defense.
Can we just reconcile what you just said? You said the president does not regret appointing Jeff Sessions, yet he said in that interview with the New York Times that he does regret it because had he known what he was going to do before he appointed him, he would have said, "Sorry, Jeff, I'm going to get someone else."
I think,
I'm just wondering how you come to those two thoughts.
sorry, I may have misunderstood what Trey was asking. My understanding.
My question was, does the President regret appointing Jeff
I'm sorry,
Sessions?
I thought you asked if he regretted not taking action to remove Jeff Sessions.
So does he regret appointing Jeff Sessions?
The president's spoken very clearly on this in the interview yesterday, and as he said, he was disappointed that the Attorney General made the decision to recuse himself, and certainly that he didn't tell him that before taking the job.
But he also said, had he told him that, he wouldn't have appointed him. So does he regret now, in retrospect, appointing
I haven't
Jeff
asked him
Sessions?
specifically if he does that.
Thank you, Sarah.
I was telling you no.
When asked about Mueller today a couple of times, you've used conditional language. that he doesn't intend to. It's at this time. How can his independence be guaranteed if you're saying in the conditional tense that he's not going to try to have him removed?
Look, I mean, I can't predict everything that could possibly take place in the future and what Mueller could potentially do that might create outrageous, reason not to take action. So I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals. I can talk about where we are today, and that's the position of the president.
You've been asked multiple times today about the war in Afghanistan. Both times you referred us to the Defense Department, but President Trump is still the commander-in-chief. Does he take full responsibility for whatever happens on the conflict in Afghanistan?
I would think so, but again, he has empowered Secretary Mattis in terms, I've been asked specifically about troop levels and decisions on specific instances, and in that regard, I would refer you to the Department of Defense. John?
Thank you, Sarah. You spoke earlier apparently about confidence in General Sessions staying there. Does the President have the same confidence and lack of regret in naming Ron Brownstein Deputy Attorney General? Mr. Brownstein being...
Rosenstein. I don't know who that guy is, but so I'm not going to speak about him. But Rod Rosenstein, as I stated, if the president didn't have confidence, he wouldn't be in that position. Guys, I hate to cut us short today, but the president has. Hold on, I'm not finished. The president has an announcement that he'll be making here shortly, and
Here at the podium?
no. Here at the White House, and so I'm going to cut it short today. Thanks, guys.
What's he doing with his paycheck,
Is he
Sarah?
watching the OJ parole hearing? He watches TV.